Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hola, how are you?
Doing good. How are you? Welcome to Between Two Brokers. We have a very special guest today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, ladies.
Okay, so Janet, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. So, my name is Janet Fields, and I am founder and CEO of Oaktrust Properties here in the humble Charleston area. I am here to just hang out and chill and chat it up with you ladies today.
Yes.
So thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, Janet, you and I met years ago at a Hatch Tribe. Remember that?
Yes.
Event on
Founders
Folly?
Hall, maybe? Oh,
No,
yes.
we were
even
on Folly.
farther.
Watch that mic.
Sorry.
Not used to having giant things in your face?
Well, sometimes.
Hey.
Nick's mom listens.
Shout out to Nick's mom.
All right. Sorry, we're all over the place.
That's
Let's
okay.
regroup and get it back together.
Let's do that.
So what I remember is you're originally from the Charleston area.
I am one of
So-
the rarities.
Born and raised in Summerville, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Somerville, Ladson, Goose Creek. I haven't gone far.
Yeah. And I know nothing about those areas,
That's
really.
okay.
But why don't you give us a little bit of a backstory on Oaktrust and how you got into the business and got your fancy CEO title?
Oh, yeah. Well, I gave it to myself, so that's the key. So I grew up around real estate. My dad was an agent. He retired from the Navy when I was probably about 5 or 6, so a really long time ago. And as the shipyard left, he continued to want to live here with his family. Mostly my mom said that's how it's going to be, so we stayed. And he began to sell property, and after a while, he started buying his own properties, and he would flip them. And as we got old enough to do child labor, we also helped flip them. So I just was always around it and in it. I never saw myself going into real estate. That was the thing that my dad did and kept him away from the family, and I didn't quite understand it. I wanted to be an artist, a visual artist, the kind that every parent wants their child to be. So
Holy
my parents,
shit.
right? They wanted to invest in that so hard. So they sent me to the tech school, and that was really fun for a while. And then I went to government contracting, where I learned a lot about culture. And it was interesting. And
Okay,
then
what kind of government contract?
government contracting. So I actually did fabrication for the, not linguistics, but the communication systems that go in submarines and the tanks and MRAPs and stuff that went over to Iraq and all that. So I helped build that physically and install them.
Whoa.
So like hard labor.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's pretty sexy.
I mean, it was. Yeah.
So you did that from in your 20s?
I did that in my 20s for about 5 years, and then I decided that since I wanted to move up within the company and out of fabrication, and there was a interesting conflict that I felt that just there was something holding me back, and I wasn't sure what it was. Not sure what it was, but I decided it was time for me to leave, and I did. Somebody left my dad's office, which was a small office then. He managed about 200 properties, and one of the ladies on the front desk, she left. She went to move. And I was like, hey, Dad, there's a position open. Do you mind if I go ahead and take that position? And he was like, oh, my goodness. I never thought any of my beautiful daughters, I'm one of them, would want to join the business. And I was like, yay, I would like to do that. So I cried, and he cried, and we hugged. And then I joined the business, and here I am today, just working my way to the back, figuring out how to do it and making things happen. And I love it.
Okay, but so you started at the entry level.
Oh, yeah. Front desk, running applications, answering phones, just trying to make people happy.
Was it hard to work for your dad?
Oh, no. My dad is awesome. He is so sweet. He is lovable and funny and charismatic, and he's really easy to work for. Plus, he wasn't around much, so that made it even easier. Yes, he would be like, okay, well, it's September, so hunting season has started. You guys got this? All right, see you in January. And we're like, okay, good to know. So, I mean, that's the way it went, and it worked out great for everyone. He loved his position, and we loved ours.
Okay, so we is your sisters?
Oh, no. My sisters did not enter into the business.
Okay.
They did other things. My oldest sister went into hospitality, and now she is a full-time stay-at-home mom, socialite. She's the best. And then my other sister, she went into radiology and does ultrasound. So she works with a lot of women and babies and stuff like that. So
So Erin and I used to work for a property management company.
Oh my gosh, bless your souls.
Yeah.
Right. And so you talk about it like it's like this easy breezy, you're answering phones and
Yes.
everything's fine. But I know that that's bullshit.
That's not true.
Right. So I would love for you to tell us what property management is like. And actually, I feel like we used to get asked all the time about going into property management.
Yeah.
And I guess now we don't because we're no longer in the
Oh,
business.
yeah.
But my conversation with my ex-husband who owned the company at the time, it was his background. So he had student rentals in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and then here in Charleston for a long time. And so it was like second nature to him. He was
Yeah.
like used to just being on the phone constantly and dealing with complaints. And he was very like even. So it just didn't even affect him.
Yes.
It really affected me.
It's
Like,
it's very hard.
Please excuse us. We just had an interruption and my precious little prince just escaped, but now he's back. So we're ready to go again. So back on track, Janet. So, the property management business, I think it probably takes a while to get used to it, but I mean, you are constantly dealing with complaints, number one, right?
From both
Yes.
sides.
And that is the thing.
Tenants and the owners.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's two
Everyone's
sides.
unhappy. I
Right.
mean, not
Only one hires us, but we represent both sides.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
a very interesting relationship.
Okay, well, I want you to talk about that. So
Yes.
the owner hires you, but like, why do you think this is such a great business to be in?
I think the accessibility was a really great reason for me to get into it, honestly. Things just kind of worked out. But I really love the business because you can help so many people. And the industry is changing. I do believe that before tenants had a really ugly name, it was tenants, oh, you rent. And the culture is changing. It's now a choice. And the different generations see it differently. But a lot of us see now that you choose to rent if you want to. And if you can rent, you can buy your own home. So it's a choice.
Yeah, it's because it's just as expensive.
It's just, you need the same credit. It's just expensive. Just the front end's a little different. Yeah. It's much easier to access because you can quickly get into a home and close. You don't have to sign as much paperwork. But yeah, you need the same credit. You need the same stability.
All right, well, I'm
100%.
going to interrupt my own
Do
question
it.
then because that has me thinking about, because I am going to sell my house, so I've been looking at rentals and it's cheaper for me to buy, like it's literally cheaper for me to buy something.
Right now.
Yeah. So what are you seeing with rental prices? And like this place I looked at yesterday downtown rented 2 years ago for $2,500 and now they're asking $3,750.
Sounds about right.
Okay. So tell us what that looks like when you have a lease up. So the tenant contacts you or whatever and says, I'm going to move out in 90 days. What do? You contact the owner and you reevaluate what
Absolutely.
market rent. Okay.
Yes. So the resident reaches out to us, but preferably we reach out to them. That's usually how it goes. About 96 days, we go out, inspect their property, find out what the condition is, see if it's being taken care of properly. And then at that point, we run comps and go back to the owner, say, okay, this is what we're seeing at the property. This is how the residents are caring for the property. And this is what your property comps for right now. And then we approach, this is the range that we see. How would you like to proceed? These are the two rates that we recommend. This is the industry standard, and this is the standard we're seeing in Charleston at this point in time for increased rents. So we go about it that way. The next step is we reach out to the resident with an offer, and we get to see if they're interested, and we usually do that about 60 to 30 days. We want to have time for everybody to move forward with their contracts. And then hopefully they just sign away. And if not, then we start prepping our team to turn the property once they move out. So we already did our inspection. So we know if the property needs paint or if it needs wood or any damage has happened to the property, a little freshen up outside. And we go ahead and schedule all that for when they move out. And we quickly turn the property within a week. That's what I want, is 7
Wow.
days.
Yeah, you got the system.
Oh, yeah, there's a system and a process for everything. And I love it.
Oh my God, you need to hire Janet because this is the most organized property manager I've ever heard.
My
speak.
team is amazing.
Yeah.
They do great things. They're
how many
brilliant.
people on your team?
There is 10 of us all together.
And you manage how many properties?
580.
Holy
Whoa,
shit.
Janet.
We got our shit together.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So what is the difference then between your property management company and the average property management company?
It's a business, not a hobby. That's really the difference. Is I treat it like a business. I go learn about it. I study it. I keep up to date with all the changing laws and regulation. We invest in our team. We create an intentional culture for our team because we want them to stay. Just like we want our residents to stay, we bring value for everybody that we touch. Well, everybody that we impact, let's put it that way. So we
no
really want
touching.
to, no touching, that's too much. We really want to just keep everybody happy and keep everybody in, I call it the machine, the system, as long as possible, because the longer that they're in there, it's cheaper. It's cheaper to stay within the system and just keep trucking along. Every time somebody moves out, it costs. We lost money, we lost days on market, all those things.
But talk about that. So,
Okay.
I mean, because people, you know,
Oh, yeah.
we know this, but the
We know
average
this.
person doesn't know that. Okay, so somebody's buying a rental property and whatever, they've got a tenant that's been in it for a year and it's time to renegotiate the lease. And
Absolutely.
yeah, you know, maybe they've been a great tenant, they pay on time, the property's in great condition. Yes, they have the ability to raise the rent by 10%, but what's your conversation with them?
We look at the market, obviously, and compare it to comps. The owner loves this house. They probably lived in this house before, or they bought it as an investment property. But oftentimes, there's a little bit of emotional attachment. Are you guys familiar with emotional attachment to properties? Yeah. So the property that you own is always the best property. It might not always be like a tangible thing that's better, but it's more emotional.
Yeah.
Like I raised my kids here, and this kitchen is where we had all of our family dinners, and this nursery is just to die for. So those things don't really bring tangible value. So we have to have these conversations. Sometimes we walk into these beautiful homes in Nextons and people upgrade them with the upgraded faucets and the upgraded fixtures. And they say, well, the house down the street's renting for $2,200. I would like $32 because of my upgraded faucets and fixtures. And you say, okay, I want that for you too. That sounds amazing. But if you had the choice between the two properties, would you pay an extra $1,000 for the faucet and the light? And usually their answer is no. And then we can move forward the conversation. So getting people on the same page is really the hardest part of the problem, or not the problem, but the process.
The job. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they don't maintain that tenant, then you run the risk of somebody going in there and being like, okay, I'll rent this place, but you need to repaint everything. Like the cost, talk about the cost of turnover.
Oh, the cost of turnover. So the physical items and turnover, that can be expensive. I mean, we're looking at $2,000 to $3,000 a paint. We're looking at, $2,000 to $4,000 for the carpet. We're looking at like a punch list of items that can get pretty long. But if you do the front end work, just like everything else, you like build your strong foundation, you can have a nice long tenancy that it's great and predictable. So what we do is we run credit. We have a score, and we have basically points on everything that we know works, and we know what becomes risky and riskier and just non-doable. And we look for those things in our credit report and our background, and we pull eviction files, all that. So we know if we have a good, strong tenant. I like to refer to it as a baseball card. It's basically your stats. It says your credit worthiness. We know that tenancy is going to go well. There's going to be very few bumps in the road, and they're probably going to stay because we like to keep open lines of communication and take care of the resident, just like we take care of the owner. And in that way, we keep residents longer, which brings more value for our clients.
So I tend to get a lot of investment buyers. Don't know what it is about me. I attract them.
That's awesome.
But in Charleston specifically, like, what do you think is the ideal investment property? Like, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what location, the size?
Absolutely. So what we're seeing right now is, even before COVID, we saw a strong shift to Summerville. Summerville is affordable, and it's right there next to the interstate, and we're getting all the nice restaurants and all the shops that, well, not all of them, but a good variety of them that you see in Mount Pleasant and downtown and West Ashley. So now they're creating a new community over in Summerville and Nexton, or right off the interstate. You have all the amenities. So everything's right there, and it's just creating value like crazy. So that is a really hot spot to buy in right now.
And like, seriously, this is what I was thinking about the other day. Cause I mean, I have clients who, let's say the husband and wife, between the two of them, make less than $200,000. They have 2 kids. They're in their first house that they bought when they first got married, and it's their starter home. And they're like, they're asking me where they would go. And I'm like, you guys need to start thinking about Summerville, which is already very expensive.
Yes.
But I just think from a lifestyle standpoint, everything is there. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a fantastic place to live.
Absolutely. It's still got the small town charm and feel. We are growing. We're not busting at the seams yet, but they are building the infrastructure to continue it. We're getting the schools, we're getting the fire stations, the EMS, all that stuff. Our hospitals galore with Roper and Trident. They're everywhere. So it's really everything's there. We're so accessible. And then the business is coming in, bringing in all the workforce.
Right.
They're right there as well. And then they are building campuses, much like Google and Nike have over the years. So there's this beautiful little mini town basically that has networks of trails and parks and everything, and it just extends to like the old Summerville feel. It's beautiful.
There's
it really
also
is.
this really awesome Irish pub up there.
Yes,
Yeah, I was going to say,
Majaroo.
Majaroo has
Yes.
a Somerville location.
Do you have an affiliation with them?
My husband owns that.
I mean, I love Majaroo. That's where I have my business meetings in Summerville.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Yes or no, agents can send investor clients to you for kind of a stats report. Let's say they're deciding between buying two different houses. And they want to
Absolutely.
know which one has the best ROI.
Absolutely. Christina Smith would be happy to help them and assist them, pull comps, and have that conversation with them. She's a wonderful resource.
Okay.
How do you charge?
An arm and a leg is preferred. No. So we do a leasing fee, which is just that first month that covers all the costs for the marketing and any agents involved. That's usually your biggest fee. Market standard around this area is usually around 30 to 40%. So you'll kind of shop around that area. And then we have a monthly management fee on top of that. So the first month you do pay for both. And then the monthly management fee, that would be dependent on how many properties you have, what kind of property you have, and stuff like that.
So it's variable.
It is variable depending on what company, what kind of overhead costs they have, what kind of service they can deliver, all those things. I mean, you're going to pay for what you get.
Yeah. Yeah. Which it was funny when you said you do it as a business, not as a hobby, because
Yes.
I would think that this would be the most obnoxious, inconvenient hobby one
is.
could ever choose.
It is. And
When we were working.
Why do you think I got divorced?
Yeah, when we were working property manager, I just remember like Keith, who was the property manager at the company, would come in and be like, people call me at 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. because their AC is out or their heater doesn't work or they got locked out or, it's just like there are no boundaries, there are no rules.
Yes.
I mean, hopefully you can create them, but
yes, we do
who
have
the fuck would
that.
have this as a hobby?
Crazy people who love to solve problems and love chaos and organizing
And they
it.
think they're going to make a lot of money being a
Yeah.
property manager.
I don't know
but
if it's more about the money or about serving others and just finding some joy in what you do. It is very exciting, especially to be on a really good team. We definitely hurrah everybody, give kudos constantly, high fives. We love getting our 5-star reviews. We like to share that and give little bonuses. We share what the people say. We really enjoy it and make a game of it. Gamifying life is a really good way to get through it.
Okay, and then what about, okay, I have two questions. One of them is, what is the longest lease term that you allow? This is like, I'm totally random, but they're just things that I've thought, okay. And then also, I want you to talk about when real estate agents refer business to you, do they run the risk of losing the business? Do you have real estate agents on your team? Because that's like a big thing.
Absolutely. So the longest lease term we do is 2 years. And the reason we do that is because the market adjusts. And since I'm talking to investors, what we talk about is if you lock yourself in, say we locked ourselves in for a 2-year lease in 2019, well, what happened in 2020? You lost out on a lot of value and you're locked in right there. So you want to do full increase as much as possible. You have a business. Yes, there's an individual living in your home and you do care about them as a human being, but you entered into this opportunity as a business to make as much money as possible for your future. So we do have people who have trouble raising rents when they feel like, it's their responsibility to raise rents. We say, oh, no, that's our job. Like we tell you what the market can do and what it can bring you. And then, we're the horrible person. We're the bad guy. We're the ones increasing the rent because that's what you hired us to do. And we want to have your financial future. We want your kids, your grandkids. We want all of them to go to college just like you want, So we go ahead and push it on that. You had a 2-part question. What was your second part?
Real estate agents being threatened, or protective
by property managers.
So,
oh my gosh,
because a lot of property managers are licensed
oh yeah,
to sell, yeah.
Yeah, so that like what we used to have was people coming to us because I was a licensed agent at the time, and so was my ex, like just saying, don't steal our clients because,
Yeah. I'm so sorry if that happened to you. No, we don't steal. We actually have a good relationship with our realtors. We have a few companies that we have partnerships, standard like real foreign partnerships with, where we pass business back and forth, and we do give them a referral fee, and we also guarantee that we'll keep their property and give it back to them. I have reevaluated the lifetime of how long we'll give it back, because it is very hard to guarantee that we'll give it back past 5 years. Say you don't know if the company turns or anything like that. But yes, we do not sell. We are a property management business. Every once in a while, an investor who was not brought to us by an agent will approach us. And if they just want to sell and they don't want to do anything huge, we'll go ahead and help that. And hopefully the resident is the person that they want to sell or will accept the buy. Yeah, we aren't there to take sales. It's not for us. So I hire employees and they get salaries and they don't get sales.
Did you have a question?
Well, just, are you thinking about getting into the short-term
Yes.
management ballpark?
Yes, we have lots of clients that ask us about that and are ready to get into it. And if it's a right fit, we're absolutely ready to do it for you. We prefer 3 to 6 month ranges just because we're used to longer terms. When we get into a shorter term, it becomes more of a vacation and it has much faster turnaround, which at this point we're not prepared for. That might be a sister company in a few years. Maybe,
Also demands a
maybe months.
higher fee.
It does.
It's a lot more work.
It's a totally different structure. It's a faster structure and more expensive.
Are you willing to say who you refer business to in town that does vacation rentals that you like?
I don't actually have any preferences. Yeah.
Damn.
I mean,
STR
I'm sure
companies
there's
gotta
some
get
great
they
ones out
shit
there.
together.
I'm sure there's great ones out there.
Whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. But yes, so we do 3 to 6 months. Some people prefer to house the property or furnish the property completely, and we have a checklist that we can help them do that. So it's pretty standard across the board. We like to keep everything systemized as possible because it reduces risk for them. It just makes cost lower for everybody and more efficient. So we can definitely speak to somebody on that and help them with that and navigate it and see if it's right for them.
So you like it or you don't like it when the owner wants to furnish?
So that's a loaded question.
It's more difficult to rent if it's furnished, right?
No, it's not. So people
Okay.
want furnished properties, especially right now, because we don't have enough housing. You guys know that. Come on. No.
Yeah.
So we don't have enough housing. And we're building here and people are moving here. So they want a short-term rental to stay in while they're building their house. A lot of times they'll want to bring their furniture with them. And sometimes they're like, well, I just want to pack it up, put it in a pod and just leave it there. So there's the two sides. Now, when we take on clients that want to furnish the property, a lot of times they're thinking, this will be easy. I'll just leave the furniture that I already have in the property and it's done. Well, it doesn't really work that way. Again, the emotional attachment. We think our things are beautiful and perfect, but when you put them in an Airbnb or like an executive rental, it doesn't always, hit the mark.
Well, a lot of times it's gross.
Yeah, we don't want to start that way.
No.
Yeah, we want to start nice and fresh because when they leave, we expect it to be the same way.
Yeah.
You got to set the standards in the front end.
So the 3-month thing is interesting to me because I've got a buyer right now who wants to get into short-term rentals in Mount Pleasant, and I've explained that there are a limited number of Airbnb permits for Mount Pleasant. I think they're capping it at like 400.
It's crazy.
But you're not grandfathered in every year, so you have to reapply every year to get that permit. And there's like 100 people on the waiting list. So I'm like, while you're on the waiting list, go ahead and furnish it because so many people right now cannot buy their next house without selling their first house. But no one is going to accept a home sale contingency. So I feel like on all of the realtor discussion boards, people are looking for 1 month, 2 month rentals that are furnished. Like people just want to move their shit into a pod so you don't have to move twice.
Yeah.
And they just want to go into something for a month or two because they have to sell first, rent, and then they can buy.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, you can make a killing on just renting something for a month or two at a time.
Yeah, and on the investor side, it's better for them to furnish a short-term rental. It's a lot of wear and tear, moving furniture in and out of the house.
Yep.
Just imagine the suitcases you bring every time you go to an Airbnb.
Yep.
Now think of somebody hauling a sofa up and down the hallway.
Right.
You don't want those scuffs and bumps, and that's a $2,000 paint job.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about the things that you do to, like, all the business stuff that you do, because I know that that's what separates you from everyone else. So, like, when you say that you're doing business development and keeping up with stuff like that, and I mean, that's obviously how we met. I mean, who are the people that you're listening to? What are the books that you're reading? I mean, is there anything that you want to share?
Oh gosh, I never stop learning.
You're just obsessed with business?
I'm ADHD, so I follow the dopamine, and the dopamine is business for me. So I have a lot of aspects. I love design. I love culture. I love marketing. So those things really fuel me. And design has always been a part of my life, even environmental design, as in you design your environment so it works as easy as possible. My mom did that. I didn't realize she was doing that to me all these years, but she was. And that's kind of what I brought to the table. That is what I brought to the table. There's no kind of. So just like when you see a process and it's a linear direction, you know that there's a timeline in everything you do, and there's a piece and a point. And if you start categorizing those by team members, or, you know, you see patterns and you can separate who can do this best, or what does this position look like? So you kind of just start breaking things down, and you just see patterns. It's a lot like statistics and math. You see patterns, you start grouping things together. Then you're like, okay, well, how can I create a better experience? Okay, I see that this happens a lot. We have 600 properties. We've been doing this for a couple decades. What are the patterns of people anticipating? How can I, you know, let them know this is something they should anticipate before it happens? You know, so basically you start bringing them solutions before it even happens, and you look like a wizard.
Yeah.
I prefer looking like a wizard.
Yeah. So how often do you have team meetings?
Every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Don't be late.
How long do they last?
They are level 10 meetings. So we usually, do you guys use the EOS operating system?
We are familiar with it.
Get it. It's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So it keeps you on track. Yeah. All of our
This is
meetings are
part of
level
what
10
Andy
meetings.
does with us.
Yeah. Traction. What is the other one? Rocket fuel. Yeah, that's a good one too. So we have level 10 meetings. They have a format we walk through. We talk about our good news, and we talk about what's happened, and we talk about our issues, and we work through those issues, our top 3, and then we come down to our action items and assign them with deadlines. So it's just a simple format that pushes us through, and each part of the table has a time limit on it. So keeps us in line. So it's not just hanging out.
I already know what's coming for us at our next week's meeting.
Level 10s are the
Stacy's
best.
like, we got a new format, everybody.
We have, it is the format we use. We're having the meeting tomorrow. I can't fucking wait. Well, I think we're going to be wrapping up here soon. Is there anything else that you want to add? I mean, please tell people where they can find you.
Yes, you can find us at oaktrustproperties.com, on Instagram, Facebook. What else? We are on LinkedIn. We're a little on TikTok. We're on TikTok, but there's not a whole lot on there. We're everywhere you want to be. And we're all over here in Charleston, Summerville, Mount Pleasant. We're a little bit in downtown. So anywhere you want in Charleston, we're here to help you. Give us a call. We'll give you some comps, and we'll help you work through the process.
And I'm here to say thank you for what you do, because maybe you get more thank yous than we did when we were doing it. But yeah,
We love it.
Yeah.
good.
We're
Because
here to support you.
Thankless work.
When people ask me about if Smith Spencer does property management, my easy out is, oh, we're not insured for that.
I love it.
Just because it puts an end to the conversation, because
Yeah.
usually they're like, well, just this one. You know, I'm like, no,
Just this one.
we're not insured for it. So
Just this
thank
one
you for
nightmare.
what you do. I know it's a hard job.
We love it. Give us all your business. We're here for it. We'll support
Done.
you. There you go.
Done. Thank you, Janet.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in again, everyone, and we'll see you next time.